It's Monday morning and it's time to grind. Right now, you have a decision to make. Hit snooze and start another week on autopilot down the road to mediocrity, or get your ass up, take control of your life, and grind until you achieve greatness. The choice is yours. Do you have what it takes to grind your way to the top? Good morning, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Monday Morning Grind. This week, we're going to talk about triggers. This is an exercise that I'm pulling right out of my workbook, the Emotional Intelligence Workbook, that you can pick up a copy of on Amazon. Triggers are things that spark very intense emotional reactions, both positive and negative. On the positive end, it could be something like the smell of our favorite food, the soundtrack to our favorite movie, or even a text message from a very important person. On the negative end, it could be something like having to work with an employee that we already have some friction with, maybe a social pet peeve like not holding the door, or even a last-minute change to the schedule that leaves us feeling anxious. For this exercise, we're going to focus on the negative triggers, because those are the ones that are most likely to cause us problems. Our triggers will never go away. That's just part of being human, but they can be controlled and mitigated. For example, if I know there's a specific individual that gets my blood boiling when I work with them, there's a few things I can do. Number one, I can try and avoid that interaction altogether. I can exhaust every possible option before working with that individual and try to remove myself from that situation completely. If that's not an option, I can take a step back and prep myself for the interaction. Knowing that this is one of my negative triggers, I can take some time before that call and remind myself, this is someone that you tend to let under your skin very easily, so you need to remain curious. I can remind myself to look at the interaction from a different perspective and try to explain my point of view differently than I have in the past. If I don't do this, I'll probably fall into that default setting of knowing this is my trigger and looking for any excuse just to justify it and pounce on that negative reaction. By deliberately identifying and prepping for this trigger, I can work to mitigate my response, thus leaving me more control of myself and a better opportunity for a positive outcome. Here's my challenge to you for the week. Take a piece of paper and write down your triggers. From putting the ketchup bottle back in the wrong spot, to that person at the office that drives you absolutely insane to work with, and everything in between. Once we have our triggers written down, we can then be proactive and identify actions we can take to mitigate those triggers. So do just that. For each trigger you identify, then also identify an action step you can take to mitigate that trigger. Drop some comments below and let me know how your week goes. Keep in mind, if you like the growth you feel after these Monday morning exercises, be sure to check out my workbook, the Emotional Intelligence Workbook, that you can find on Amazon. And be sure to tune in next week for the next episode of the Monday Morning Grind.